Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
We winning or losing?
Winning.
When I graduated high school, I wasn't that good academically, even though I could have been, but I wasn't. Boys do in high school. But I played football, and there was a gentleman in our neighborhood, in our community, who had a lot of influence. I think he was a graduate of Virginia State College. He had told my family that if I wanted to, and went to college, went to Virginia State College, played football and kept my grades up, that they would pay for give me a full ride to the college. I never even completed the paperwork, and by the end of that summer, that was in June when I graduated, by the end of that summer, before September, I was strung out on heroin. Ruined the scholarship with dope, and I was just out of it. The next 4 to 6 years, my life was just one big dope-filled binge. You name it, I was into it. We were doing it. And running from the police, selling dope, buying drugs, selling dope, everything that you can think of that goes on in that arena of things, that's what we were doing. So wanted to change the scenery. One of my cousins, one of the ones that introduced me to that dope thing, he moved from where we were in New Jersey, and he moved to Montreal, Canada. Calling me a lot, saying, Wayne, brother, they call me brother. Brother, you got to come up here and see us. You got to come up here and see us. So I said, okay, I'm coming up. I went to Montreal, and I got a 2-week visa. On a 2-week visa in Montreal, we're running around there. My cousin had a friend who was a chemist. His name was John, so we called him, and he made methamphetamine for us. He made speed. So John Speed, my cousin Rock, and myself, we became meth dealers. And we were dealing methamphetamine in Montreal, Canada. And also we had people coming back and forth from New Jersey, a lot of colleges that were coming back and forth buying dope from us. And there were in Montreal, there happened to be 2 biker gangs, Satan's Choice and the Devil's Disciples. And we were all fighting. It sounds like some kind of a crazy movie, but it's real. Really, in fact, when I first met my wife and I told her my story, she thought she was at the movies. So anyway, we're fighting for all this territory. So all I did for the next 2 years was shoot dope, fight bikers, and go to the hottest discotheques and dance. And I wasn't a fighter. I was a dancer, but I wasn't a fighter. So that's all I did for the next 2 years. Now, mind you, I'm in Montreal, Canada on a 2-week visa. So I'm walking down the street one day, and this guy walks up to me. He looked like some kind of a street freak, because in Montreal at that time, there was nothing but freaks out there. He looked like some kind of a street freak, and he had this cape on, and long cape, and these tall boots that come up to him just below his knee. And he walks up to me and he says, "You ready, Wayne?" I said, "Who are you?" He pulls out his wallet, and there was this badge, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Mounties, and they always get their man. So they took me to jail, put me before the judge, and so they deported me. I got deported from Montreal, Canada. They put me on a bus and drove me back to New York City, dropped me off at the terminal, and I had to got out of the bus, and I hitchhiked home. I live in a small town called Florence, New Jersey. I hitchhiked home to Florence, got back in town, and it wasn't long before my feet hit the ground. I'm running around trying to find somebody that wanted more dope or somebody that wanted speed, because I knew people down there were buying from us. And got somebody that wanted some, so we got into the car and drove right back to Montreal, and I snuck through the border. I'm back in Montreal again doing the same thing. Just as crazy as a termite in a yo-yo. I was just crazy. And so we're there doing the dope thing again, and I get arrested. So another year goes by, and same thing. I get arrested again, and the cops, they take me to the court. They take me to it's called, we call them judges here, they call them constables. So I go before the constable, and this guy looks at me and says to me, "You are a menace to the society of Quebec." I said, "Man, that's a hard pill to swallow." You're a menace to society. So they locked me up in this Bordeaux penitentiary. So I'm in Bordeaux penitentiary, and they didn't give me much time. In fact, they call it penitentiaries there. It's more like a large county jail, but they called it Bordeaux penitentiary. So I'm in Bordeaux penitentiary, and doing the same thing as people dealing drugs and the whole crazy thing. And so I came out of my cell one day, and this one French guy says to me, because they're French-speaking people, one French guy says to me, "So, do they lock your cell at night?" I said, "Yeah, they lock my door." I said, "This is a jail." He said, "Well, they shouldn't lock your door." So he pointed to a little card that was on my door, on my cell door, in a little slot. See, and the word, it was spelled M-A-L-A-D or M-A-L-A-D-E, something like that. And the word was malade, and it meant that he said, "They think you're crazy." So he said, "They're not supposed to lock your door." So anyway, so that's how I knew what they thought of me. This boy's crazy, he needs help. So anyway, so after about 30, 40 days, they released me from prison, but they took me in a bus or in a police car, I don't even remember, took me to the border again, and this time they didn't take me home, they didn't drive me to New York, they put me out, and I had to hitchhike to New Jersey from Montreal, Canada. And I was really, you talking about somebody, I was living after years, 3 or 4 years of nothing but shooting speed. I mean, that's all we did. I lived in a big hallucination. My mind was gone. My mind was gone. I deal with people in paranoid schizophrenia and hallucinations and so on. I deal with that now in the work that I do. I was there, and I was a lost individual, and so it was amazing how sick I was. And here I am hitchhiking from Canada, and I remember I had a broken guitar on my shoulder. I had a broken guitar on my shoulder that I'm walking with. And people are picking me up, and I don't play guitar. So I'm walking with this guitar, hitchhiking, and finally somebody could have taken me and put me in a hole somewhere I'd never be seen again. Fortunately, I made it back to Jersey. All right. So anyway, so I'm back here again. I'm back in Jersey. And I remember I fell right back into the dope thing, and things got bad. Now I'm shooting heroin. I found out that I started shooting heroin instead of speed. At least it slowed my brain down. It was almost like a sedative. So I wasn't really hallucinating anymore. Now I'm just strung out on dope. All right, and things got bad. I was stealing. I'd rob you. I'd steal the taste out of your mouth. You know. So and that's where I was. We were doing it. I was just in a bad crowd. Just a bad, in a bad situation, right? So finally one day it got so bad, I said to I looked around and I said, "No, wait a minute." I said, "Everything's corrupt. The government's corrupt around the time of Watergate. Everything's corrupt." I said, "These people are corrupt. I'm corrupt. Nobody's right." So I said, I made up my mind. I decided, I said, "You know what? I'm going to become I sat down and decided to sear my conscience. I wasn't going to kill myself. You know, somebody else might go, but I'm not going to go. Sorry. So I decided to sear my conscience, and I said, I'm a criminal. If I got to hurt you, if I got to shoot you, if I got to smack you in the head with my gun, I'm going to have to do it just to live this dope and criminal lifestyle. But I can't let my conscience bother me, because how can you let your conscience bother you when you're doing these criminal acts? So I decided I'm going to have to sear my conscience. And this is legit. I wanted to sear my conscience so that nothing bothered me. I even picked up a dictionary and I looked up sociopath and psychopath, so I make sure I did it right. So So I'm sitting there in my chair in my living room. This was September 28th, 1974. And if you don't know that, September 28th, 1974 was a Saturday. So I'm sitting there in this chair, and I'm trying to sear my conscience and make up my mind that nothing's going to bother me. Nothing. If I got to hurt you, I got to live this lifestyle. And in the middle of my cogitations, I get guilty for everything I ever did. And I said, and I realized that God butted in on my life. He did me a favor, and he didn't let me cross that line of my conscience and he had mercy on me. And right there, I had the opportunity to make a decision. And I saw where I was going to go if I kept going that direction. But I took the offer, and I went the other direction, and I went to a drug program. It was a faith-based program, and fortunately I got there. They took me into the program, and it was a 9-month program. I did the 9 months. Fortunately, I was in there with about 25 other guys who were legit. They were serious. We all wanted to change, and so we finished the 9 months. Fortunately for me, they extended it for another 3 months, and then they merged with a Bible college. So in 3 years, when I walked out of there, I was a different person altogether. It wasn't Wayne Holmes, and I can tell you some more stories about that. I was a different person. Okay, so my life changed. Now here's the thing. That's the reason that I now teach, and I want to tell everyone about leadership concepts that erase limits. I was taken to a place where it seemed like there were nothing else I can do with my life. And I hit the wall. But something happened to me that took me beyond the limits. I broke through walls. It took me through walls. I passed through quitting points, and everything after that began to change. My life changed. And I'm very fortunate in that I teach leadership concepts that erase limits. And how to overcome obstacles, how to break through quitting points. And I deal with people fortunately. And here's something else. My life, I realize now, is been prescriptive. After all I went through at that period of time, then I get a job in a prison as a chaplain. They don't hire people that have been in jail. I get a job in a prison as a chaplain. Then I worked for the state of New Jersey in the prison system as a chaplain. I come out of that. Then I work with people coming out of prison. And I deal with people that are facing life-controlling problems and life-altering situations. And I deal with there's many, many problems. And here's the thing. Now I want to tell you this. The things that we've gone through, some of the stories in here today, and mine included, our lives have been prescripted. You are now the prescription that this world needs. You are the healing balm that this world needs. The thing that I've gone through, I can bring healing to your mind, to your heart, to your purpose, to your cause. We are now my life has been so prescripted. Every single thing that I went through is now become like KTR teaches us. Your message, the medicine is in your message. You are the medicine that people are looking for, especially in this crazy 21st century that we're dealing with right now. Thank you. My name is Wayne Holmes. I teach leadership concepts that erase limits, and I'm glad that I could be here to spend this afternoon with you.
Get on your feet, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Wayne Holmes.